Okay, there we go. I should be recording now. There we go. All right, so what I was saying was the purpose of these buttons is so that the students will have one central location, and they won't have to go back to courses. Again, I'm going to go back to my real school course just to show you. So the kids will have to finagle between all of these buttons right here, and then of course go back. Well, if they have that one central location, then they've only got to click in this one spot and they don't have to continue to go back to their courses. I'm so sorry. Okay, so to get started, and I hope that excites you, so that it is a little bit of work, but I think it's much more appetizing and appealing to the student eye. And then also it's more, it is much more easy for them to access all of these things. And if you can see, I've got these hyperlinked. So when my kids click on these, then they are able to actually go to where they need to, and they don't have to go within all these folders. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to go back to my bit.ly. The bit.ly I shared in the chat box. You have access to that. Let me get out of this and make it bigger for you guys. My email is blowing up this morning. Okay, so you're going to start off, actually you're going to start off in Google Slides. This is my bit.ly. This is the hyperlink that I put into the chat box. So you'll actually have access to this with these clickable hyperlinks for you to also have a starting point for you to create your buttons. So I wanted to start off by showing you that you, let me go to my creating buttons here. Okay, so this is actually a set of buttons that I've already started creating, but I wanted to go back and forth in between the buttons and show you what they end up looking like. Now notice that I'm going in between Google Slides and I'm going in between Google Docs. So there's a little process here that you have to go through. Starting with Google Slides, this is one that I was playing around with. I just wanted you to be able to see the different types. You can have square, you can have round, but to start off, what you're going to do is you're going to end up with a blank slide. And what you need to do is you actually need to page setup, because you end up with a whole page, and create the size that you need to by typing in 125 by 125. Now I've already applied this, so you can see mine's a symmetrical square. And so when you go with your new slide, it's all up to you. When you start off, you want to insert your shape. Notice here that I inserted a circle, but I can insert a square. You can insert this little one with the little rounded rectangle. When I do that, I end up with this. Well, there's several ways that you can do this. You can actually change the background colors of your button that you're creating to be anything. They've got gradient, they've got solid. So let's just say that I want to let's do a Spartan one. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to change that. Well, now I want to change this shape, and let's do a gray. So I've got a gray color. If you want to be simple about it, you can go get clip art from jiffy.com, and you can insert, animated jiffies, or stars, twinkling stars. But just to start off and be simple, you're just going to insert word art. And then I'm going to type in welcome. Let's say that I'm going to make this my welcome hyperlink. When I do that, of course, you play around with it. Where did it go? Insert my word art. I don't know where it's going. And let me make it, I have to change the color. There we go. I had to be able to see it. Let's make it black. Okay, so there we go. I've created a button. It's not very, it's not as cute as my little Bitmoji one here, but this is to help you just get the gist. All right, so in order for you to be able to put this into your Schoology, you're going to have to download this slide. So what I would do is I would click on this slide, download it to my computer, and you can do a JPEG or you can do a PNG. I'm going to do a PNG just because it's better quality. Notice that it goes down here to my downloads. Now, when I go to my buttons, what I would have to do is I would have to insert a table. This is a new, we're going to pretend this is a brand new Google Doc. Nothing's here. And I'm going to insert a table. Will you decide how you want your buttons to look, however many you're going to have? Do you want them to go wide? Do you want to do 4x3? It just depends on how many. Notice here that I did 4x3, but I'm going to end up having to go back and adjust mine to add subjects. So I'm probably going to end up doing 4x4, maybe even 4x5. Depends on how many buttons that I'm going to have. So insert the table. I'm going to do 4x3 again. And then I'm going to insert image from my computer. I'm going to find from my downloads, and you make sure that you save these to, but there it is right there, creating buttons. Make sure you save this to your documents or whatever so that you don't just have them in your downloads. So there's my button that I created, and I'm going to open it. And it's going to place it right inside my table. So that's how you end up doing that. Let's just say, for example, I've already created all of my buttons. Here's my buttons, and I want to place them inside this table. Notice how it's resizing my buttons smaller. Now, if I want them larger, I can go in and I can change those buttons. But you just place them inside the table. Now, there's my table. In order to make it presentable on your Schoology, you're going to want to take the borders off of your table. And of course, you can do that by, let me just, I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so here we go. I've got my buttons. Now, I want these buttons to be clickable within my Schoology. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to wherever my document is. As you can see, this one right here, I've already got hyperlink, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it. This is actually what I wanted it hyperlinked to. This is in my Google Docs. And you can see that all I did was I went and put it in present mode, and then I copied it. Give me just a second so I can let this person in. Let's see the link. Oh, okay, guys, I'll put the link back in. I thought that I put it in there, but I will put it back in there again. Thanks for letting me know. Let me let that person in. Okay. Hey, Tara, thanks for joining us. Okay, so where I'm at is I've got my buttons created, and I'm wanting to link these to my buttons. Okay. So when I go back, I'm going to escape this. I got more people jumping on. Y'all give me just a second. Okay, so I'm going to get out of this again, and I'm just going to go back to my Google Slides, and I'm going to show you guys exactly where I got that. So my Meet the Teacher is in my Google Slides. I'm sorry, it's taking a minute. Okay, there we go. So my Meet the Teacher is in my Google Slides. If I want to hyperlink that to my buttons, all I do is make sure that I have made this to where I can share it. It's taking forever. So whenever I look at it here, it says this is only private to me. But what I want to make it is I want to make this to where anyone can, this is anyone on the internet with this link can view. So I definitely want to make it this way. And then I'm going to copy this link, and I'm going to go back to my buttons, and I'm just going to delete this link right here. So I deleted the link. I click on the button. I mash the insert link. And what you're going to see here is you're going to see a little pop up where it says link. I Control V or paste it, and then I apply it. And as you'll see here, it ends up, there's the hyperlink. And now, that's for if you have a Google slide. What if I'm wanting to hyperlink these buttons within my Schoology for folders that are within my Schoology? So I'm going to go down here. This is actually my first 9 weeks, and I'm going to click on it just so that you guys can see what it's going to look like. And of course, this is private access. Let me go back to it on my Schoology. So if I click on it in my Schoology and I click on the first 9 weeks, ooh, let's see. Let me do it over here. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so there's where you go. The kids are going to be able to click on this. Now, again, if I want to change this, because I've really been thinking about, well, I've got the first 9 weeks, but what am I going to do if I don't, if my students still have all of these courses to where they've got to be able to go in between these subjects. So if I needed to, I may have to go back and change these first 9 weeks just to subjects and have reading, math, science, social studies, and within that have my folders of 9 weeks, first 9 weeks, second 9 weeks. It depends on how your school system is going to set up your courses. But for our younger elementary kids, I believe that this would be the most simple way. And then, of course, within those first 9 week buttons, then you end up with your subjects by the week. So when you click on those first 9 weeks, you would have your folders of your week, but within your week end up with it's not going to let me click on it because let's see. There we go. So we've got folders, but within those folders, you would have it everything in a little subfolder for that day. But I got off on a little tangent. So in the bit.ly that I am going to go back right now and attach, because let me see where it's at. There we go. So I'm gonna copy the bit.ly for you guys and put it back in the chat box just so that you have it. And you'll have access to this bit.ly with these links. Again, I apologize because I thought I put it in there already. So go into the buttons. You're going to have access to this right here, this chart. You click on this and you're going to be able to, not that. And I may have to go back and make this public, but let's see. Okay, so you're going to end up with something like this. And, or like this, because I think I put that one on there too. And this one. You can alter these, you can change them, but you've got to remember, you've got to start off in Google Slides first. Starting off with your Google Slides, creating your buttons, you have to save them as a JPEG or a PNG. Then you insert them over into your docs, okay? So there's a button that I created. There's a button I created that you can change. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, change your, little fonts so that if you want to make it more kid-friendly, you can add your Bitmojis, you can add the Jiffies. Once you've created your button, you're going to save your button as a PNG or a JPEG. You're going to create a doc. You're going to create your table by inserting your table. Then you're going to insert your images into the table. To make your hyperlinks, I'm going to go back just to give an example of how I did this with my first 9 weeks. What I did was, here is my first 9 weeks. If I want to go back to the whole folder of my first 9 weeks, and I want to go into my sandbox, what you're going to see here is you're going to see all of my folders right there. So within this first 9 weeks, I'm going to click on it because that's where I want my hyperlink to come from. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to my buttons in my Google Docs. I'm going to insert the link, and then I'm just going to copy and paste it. Not to that one. And then I end up with this. Okay, so let's say that I've made all of my buttons and I'm done. I want to format my table. Let's see. I do this and I don't know why I do this. Where is it? Border color, and I'm making it go away. That just looks better to me. Okay. Now, to get this into your Schoology, you're going to highlight, because you're in a Google Doc. You're going to Command C, which is copy in a Mac. You're going to go back to your Schoology. Excuse me. And then you're going to go to Updates. Let me go back because I don't want to confuse you guys. In order for your buttons to be with your virtual classroom, you end up having to copy and paste. Okay, so watch as I do this. I'm going to updates. I need to go back to my materials first because I have to copy my virtual classroom. So copy my virtual classroom, and I'm gonna slide down here to my folders. Let's say this is my Bitmoji classroom. And I'm going to edit. I'm gonna Control C, and then I'm just gonna cancel it. What I'm gonna end up doing, in order for this to show up in my classroom, updates, I'm gonna Control V. Wait, inside the box. And then adjust it to however I want. But I also need to go down below that, go back to my buttons. I'm having trouble seeing them. There we go. Copy and paste into my Schoology. So you have to do them at the same time. Let me get it in there. I want to resize it. What you end up doing I'm trying to get up under it, guys. Y'all give me a second. Now it should, there we go. I copied and I pasted. Did I copy it twice? No. Okay, so one of the important things that you need to make sure that you realize, and I don't know where my, making sure that my virtual classroom's there, and it's not. Okay, so I've got to go back and redo this again. I'm going back to my materials. Going back to my Bitmoji classroom. Gonna edit. I'm gonna Control C, and then I'm gonna cancel out. Go to updates. Here's my update. I'm going to Control V. There it is. I can resize it. I know it looks a little wonky. It's not letting me. There we go. All right, so once I have that in there, then I have to make sure I go up under I am not sure what it is doing today. Now, go to my buttons, Copy and paste into my Schoology again. So it's going to look like this. What you have to make sure that you do is go to this button, click by the bell, and post. Now, this is what they're going to see for the announcements. Okay, I've got something else, sorry. So you end up with your buttons. The kids end up seeing this on their home screen, and then, of course, they can click on it. So again, you go within the clickable buttons, and I'm just going to go back and forth and go back to my home screen. The calendar, this wasn't working last night. Yeah, I'm going to have to update that link because I saw that it wasn't working last night. Schoology 101. This is a little Google Slides that we had for them to click on so that they could see. It's just taking a little while. It's taking a little bit longer than what I wanted. Go within the math manipulatives. That's just a quick link for them to be able to pull up math manipulatives to go manipulate their math during math time. I'm going to get out of this. And then we have our buttons. So that's about all that I have to share with you today, but I figured that I would look and see if you guys had any questions, if you had anything that you needed me to answer real quick before we jump off. But I hope that this helped with some ideas on how to create your buttons. If not, thank you for joining me for today. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a great school year.